Hello friends, and welcome to Bluebell Hill Crafts, to episode 8 of Slow Stitch Sunday. Now, as I so often do, I thought of something else that I meant to tell you last week when we did the fly stitch, and here we anchored the thread at the bottom of the V shape, and I just wanted to show you a really handy variation of this that is great in landscape stitching or just a decorative filler when you add creative touches. So you start just the same, and instead of anchoring the stitch here and going really close to where the thread came out, you can actually make this a longer stem. And you can see this is a completely different look. And then you can just intersect these and also vary the height of some of them and just introduce some movement into your designs. And yeah, just some creative touches. You could also go in with a second colour like I did here and just work on the creative element of it. And you can see how this is a really quick way to fill a larger section in as well. Right, let's move on to the feather stitch today. The feather stitch builds on the fly stitch, and where the fly stitch is an isolated singular element, the feather stitch is almost always worked in a continuous line. It's absolutely wonderful for borders, vines or branches, and you could also work it in rows to fill a certain area. I'm going to use these 3 colours here from the Indelible collection by Aurifil, and thank you very much for Aurifil for sending me this 8-weight thread collection when I started this Slow Stitch Sunday series. I've got a patch here and I've added a transfer, and I've got a separate video on how to make that, and it's just a lovely way to add some sentiments or words. I've already used it here in a previous episode, so I shall link that above for you. Just going to add a couple of these little applique pins. If you want this line to be symmetrical, you could use a heat erasable marker and just draw some lines for you, but I don't mind if this is going to look a little bit of, organic. I'm not too worried about uniformity for this project. So just like with a fly stitch, you come up and then put the needle down and come up into the V. So this part is exactly the same. With the fly stitch we would have anchored the thread down here, but the feather stitch goes left and right, so we're actually moving to the side and then doing this in a continuous line. So now we're moving back onto the other side, and if you want the uniformity you can just sort of measure the width of that stitch. So not down here, but again we're moving out to the right. And you can really quickly see this pattern developing. And there are so many really beautiful variations of this. So it's really quite versatile once you've got the basics. If you have beads, for example, that will fit over the needle and whatever thread you're using, at this stage you could thread a bead. And then move the bead to this side, so it's actually anchored in place now. And if you did this on each side and also here, that would give you a really beautiful decorative border. Just an idea for you. Oh, keep dropping the needle today. It's one of those days today. So what is a little bit more difficult, and you can see here, because I'm sort of looking through the camera, it's a little bit more difficult. Thread tension is even more important for the feather stitch than it is for the fly stitch, because you're working in this continuous line, and if your thread is a little bit tight you might curve into either direction, or you might not have that distinct V shape if it's a little bit loose, like in this stitch here. But you could try and just pull it over a little bit just to see if you can distribute the additional width if it's a little bit loose. So the last one, you actually basically just do a fly stitch. You come down here just over the thread, so you can anchor it in place and then you can tie off on the back. Oh, that wasn't intended, so I can pull this back and then move the knot up. just a simple knot, and then you can use your needle, put it inside the knot, and then through that you can just get the knot right close up to the fabric. If you want, you can add another one. I just want to show you one variation where you can just add a different thread colour in. There's lots of different options how you can embellish this. If your stitch is on a slightly larger scale, you could add French knots, little trios on each of the points. That would look really pretty. Or you could do a loop and anchor it at the top to signify blossoms, you know, that haven't opened up yet. I might just add a couple of stitches from here, a couple of small stitches. Actually, I'm going to do 3 and make the middle one slightly larger or longer rather than the other 2. So I think this looks like little buds as well, which is quite pretty. And this is so easy, just to add these stitches over the top. And it's quite repetitive, which is nice and I find really relaxing. So I hope you're enjoying the stitch along. And you've got a cup of coffee or a cup of tea on standby. I've switched to the purple and I'm just going to add some running stitches to sew down this patch. I did use some of the sew line fabric glue just to keep it in place, and this will add just a nice border to it as well. I'm going to add some running stitches in between the fly stitches here, just to keep this scrap down. And then I'm going to have a think of what stitches to add to those three sides, and I shall let you know in another episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the feather stitch and a little variation to go with it. Happy stitching!